right, good morning, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Megan Twentyman, the Brand Manager for Unified Communications here at Soft Solutions. And on the webinar today with me, I've got Kiran Kumar, who is our Technical Specialist.
Hello, everyone. It's great joining you today for the webinar.
Awesome. So today's webinar is to have a look at Update 8 Alpha and the roadmap as we know it at the moment. So we'll try to stick to our bite-size event. We should be done in about 20 minutes, and we will have questions and answers at the end. If you have questions as we go along, feel free to pop those in, and we will answer them when we get to the end. So what's on the agenda today? Obviously, we're having a look at Update 8 Alpha, bit of a recap on the security incident, what we know is on the roadmap for Updates 9, 10, and even version 20, a recap on some recent announcements and the technical certs, and then we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So key purpose of today's webinar is to look at Update 8 Alpha, and needless to say, the last couple of months have been a little bit busy for 3CX, but Update 8 is in Alpha. We expect to see the beta very, very soon. I was on a webinar with 3CX just yesterday, a video conference meeting, and we do expect to see it very, very soon. A key thing in version 8 in the Update Alpha is around integration. So I'm going to let Kiran walk you through all the integrations that are coming. So over to you, Kiran.
Thanks, Megan. So let's quickly get started with the integration. So for everyone trying to implement MS365, it's going to be much more convenient and easier. As moving forward with Update 8, the 3CX has adapted to the MS365's new API, which gives great reliability and an added layer of security, as MS365 will scan your certificates before uploading. It has also got much improved event logging, which is the key thing for troubleshooting. Earlier, every time you update your certificate to Microsoft, you have to keep renewing it. Now, it becomes much hassle-free with automatic certificate renewals. Moving forward, there will also be a Windows soft phone app. However, the code will be controlled by 3CX. Once the app goes final, it will be available in Microsoft Store, making it much easier to manage it centrally. But one thing I would like to emphasize is, for those of you already got your Microsoft account configured, you will need to reprovision the app once you upgrade to the Update 8. So yeah, up until version 7, when we tried to synchronize contacts with Microsoft, it was a one-way synchronization. But now with Upgrade 8, we can create or search a contact in MS365 from within the 3CX web client. So for an example, if you have a person calling in, you can now create a contact and add that to your MS account to be in your 3CX. So yeah, it's a cool feature allowing you to log in all your phone books, whether in your Microsoft or 3CX. And for all of you trying to store backup and archive recordings offsite, this is something you've been asking for. We have now got SharePoint to the list of options you have for synchronization in the Update 8. TAPI. So let's talk about the telephonic application programming interface. So TAPI is basically like a bridge that allows you to connect the phone system with other software application. It's actually an older way of integrating with the telephonic system, but it's still in use with data and other application. For those of you using TAPI, you will be excited to hear that now it's available in the desktop app. Moving forward with the integration with the headsets, in Update 6, if you guys remember, 3CX introduced Universal Web HID drivers and the option for Yelling. And later in Update 7, Jabra didn't. Now in Update 8, we have Poly and Platronics. They resolved the MSI certificate issues. But the key thing to remember is like all the support for third-party hardware is done with the manufacturers. Integration with CRM. For all the CRM codes currently being used is completely revamped, and 3CX keep reviewing all the integrations, which gives you the ability to add contacts from an inbound call. Moving forward with Update 9 or 10, yet to be announced, expected to have the recordings of call. And one cool feature to add on the list is you can have the transcript of call in CRM and multiple CRM support per PBX, like one per group, like Zoho and the Salesforce for a group.
Fantastic, thanks Kiran. Other new features in Update 8 are some naming convention changes. So we've been going through this process of moving everything from the management console across to the web client admin. That has had a rename and is now known as the admin console. So we'll have a management console and the admin console as everything continues to migrate. So that migration is ongoing. New things coming in Update 8 are the ability to manage your subscriptions, so you'll be able to see your license key and the status and when it expires, update the subscription owner information. You will see there's an event log, as you can see from the picture there. So it's kind of like a new landing page when you get in the admin console. Another key thing that is moving across in Update 8 is the reports. So the reports are moving from the management console to the admin console, but initially they will be available in both places still. They've fixed a lot of the issues with reports that they were aware of. They are merging and simplifying reports, and anybody with a manager or owner role will be able to see those reports. So it comes down to those user categorizations and roles. So you'll remember there's 7 new roles in 3CX. And from a security perspective, you'll be able to lock down by IP address, so the admins can only access it from that validated IP address. So as I said, it is a work in progress moving those reports across. Quick look at what it will look like. So you'll see there'll be a new tab. It's a little bit blurry, sorry, but lots of different new reports. And then the ability to export to CSV. There'll still be some HTML reports, but those will be available in the management consoles. So that's pretty exciting to see the reporting, because reporting is a very powerful feature of 3CX. More changes around provisioning. You remember in Update 6 that 3CX completely rewrote the RPS provisioning. Update 8 now allows RPS provisioning for those on-prem installations on the same LAN local IP phones. But note, you do require split DNS. It's also been announced several times now that 3CX will be requiring split DNS moving forward. In terms of manual config, that's still available. DHCP option 66 is still available. There's also a lot of talk about legacy phones. So whilst they're not encouraged when people are transitioning from another system to 3CX, some people need to keep their hardware just from a financial perspective. So there is the ability for older phones that require an extension in SIP ID to be processed through 3CX now without too many problems. But remember, it's not recommended. It's really about accommodating migrations. You don't want really old technology with a new up-to-date PBX solution. Other enhancements in Update 8, codecs. So for a long time, people have been asking for the H.264, which is the video codec. That will be enabled in 3CX apps, which means that you can do things like have your video dual phone feeds coming through. Live chat status has had a bit of a tweak. So group hours will now be taken into consideration versus global hours. So group hours might, different groups might work different times, that type of thing. You can have outside office hours and breaks. Nothing worse than being in a chat queue and nobody's there to actually take your chat. Hosted by 3CX. You'll recall this was introduced just over a year ago, about April last year. For the ANZ region, 3CX use Volta in Australia and New Zealand, and the data centres are across in Sydney and Melbourne. So up until now, this was to accommodate up to 32 simultaneous call licenses using the hosted by 3CX. And remember, hosted by 3CX, 3CX take care of a lot of that management processing for you. From Update 8, you'll be able to accommodate up to 256 simultaneous call licenses. So much larger licenses will be available on that hosted by 3CX. And remember, revenue from hosting counts towards your partner targets for the year as well. In terms of SIP trunk providers, 3CX globally are working very hard around fixing up SIP trunk providers, making sure people are where they need to be, those types of things. Ufone are moving back up and will be able to offer startup from version 8, Update 8 onwards, and we're also working on other options for New Zealand as well. And 3CX globally are working on options for all sorts of providers. Just a quick recap around the security. So as you're aware, 3CX have implemented their EFTA, or their 7-step security plan. It's in full swing. A lot of work has been going on, which is why they've been very busy. They have reviewed their network and completely rebuilt it. There's regular penetration testing happening for the network and for their website and the portal. They've also appointed CrowdStrike to monitor their own network 24/7. And their build process is completely separate and closely monitored. So really working hard. The new solution to scan libraries and products for issues, code signing, security, it's all been looked at. As we talked about enhancing a product security, remember at update 7A beta, which is that optional release, password hashing started to be introduced. So that will continue as we move through the next lot of updates. That meant that there were changes to the welcome email, and that's a little bit of a work in progress still. So things like the password, the config file, the QR code are being removed from that welcome email. New users will create their password. So remember, password management is very, very important around that. We have had reports of people with a blank QR code. Don't panic. The QR code will be available within the web client once they log in, so that they can configure their mobile apps without any issues. All of the apps have been updated to the latest .NET, and libraries have all been re-signed as well. Ability to lock the console down by the IP for the admin console is really important as well. In terms of security alerts and being able to react quickly, 3CX announced a dedicated security forum back at the end of May. That's where anybody can report a issue. So if a antivirus product of any description is given an alert, you can go online and report that. There are escalation plans in place for emergencies. They've already had a number of false alerts, but they've all been thoroughly investigated as a matter of urgency, and it is constantly monitored 24/7. Anyone can report a threat. Can't stress that more carefully. So that can be an end customer, a partner, a distributor. Anybody can report any issues whatsoever. So what we do know about the roadmap, and this is just cobbling together bits and pieces that have been shared in recent events, is that we will see obviously update 8 go live, then we will see an update 9 and update 10, and then we'll move to version 20. There will be no version 19, we'll be going to version 20. So key things on that roadmap are around SSO, so your single sign-on, 2FA, that's been asked for quite some time, and obviously a key security function. Debian 12 support, we believe that'll be at version 20. So Debian 12 was just released mid this month, so that is the new version of Debian, and 3CX will be moving to that fairly rapidly with their version 20 product. Kiran mentioned when she was talking about the CRM integrations that there will be call recording links coming for a journal, and the transcriptions as well, and that ability to have multiple CRMs supported per PBX instance, so one per group. So that's if your sales team use Salesforce, for example, and another team use Microsoft Dynamics or whatever those products are, it allows people to use the right tools rather than being just one per instance, which it has been until now. So the groups are becoming really powerful as we move through these next lot of upgrades. Other recent news from 3CX, we've had new iOS and Android apps released. They focused on better call handling, and you heard Kiran talk about the new Microsoft app that will be coming as well. It'll be very similar to the iOS and Android, but that one will be the one in the Microsoft Store. 3CX Meeting has had an overhaul. So 3CX Meeting is the free video conferencing that is built into every license. Depending on your license size, depends on how many participants at any one point in time. So that's not meetings, it's participants as a whole for the instance. Much easier management from your mobile apps, being able to turn off the chat, mute everybody, those types of things. Enhancements to the whiteboarding feature, which is a very popular part of the video conferencing. More security enhancements, making sure that it's all locked down and nice and secure, and then a focus on optimizing the resources for those much larger meetings as well, so that you have a great meeting experience. We've been talking about the new technical certifications for quite some time. We thought those were going to be released in November last year when Nicholas Perez was down here in New Zealand, but things just got a little bit delayed, and it's about making sure the certifications are up to date with the latest information for the product. So I have actually just in the last 24 hours received the slide decks so that we'll be able to start planning our own delivery of the certifications here in New Zealand. At the moment, you can't quite take the exams yet. The portal has to have an update, and that will be coming soon. So don't panic, it is coming. However, you can start preparing. The preparation materials are online on the website, and they recently actually ran the training in the ANZ time zone. So it was 3 afternoons per week for the last couple of weeks. So, there will be more of those coming as well, but we'll be offering those in New Zealand in person and online. I always talk about keeping up to date just because it's so important. Hopefully you all received my UC channel update newsletter that came out yesterday. So we send that out monthly apart from January because everybody's still on holiday in New Zealand. We have our weekly newsletter for any sort of major news around hardware or 3CX. We have our LinkedIn Soft Solutions UC community group, which you can ask to access, and we'd love to have you join that group for the latest news that we post there first. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm just going to pop out the questions box and see if we've got any questions coming through, and Kiran and I will try and assist with those as well. But we really do appreciate you taking the time to join us for our monthly webinar. What have we got? Lots of familiar faces on our webinar today. We haven't got any questions coming through. It means we must have done a good job of sharing the information. If anything comes to light after the webinar, feel free to reach out to myself or Kiran. We're more than happy to help you. And then once we obviously see the beta and update 8 goes live, we'll look for any changes that are happening and we'll update you around those as well. No, it doesn't look like we've got any questions at all today. So we must have covered it all really well. We do appreciate you all coming to join with us today. And well done, Kiran. This was Kiran's first webinar presenting, and she did a great job. So really pleased to have her on our team coming up to speed with 3CX. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next month. So have a great rest of your day. The sun is shining in Auckland. I hope down the rest of the country is a little bit nicer than what it's been recently as well. Have a great day, everybody.